I don't think it's quiet quitting. I think that's the wrong name for it.
It is the wrong
I
name
think
for
you're
it, but
working
that's
for
what-
your wage. You are doing what you were supposed to do. You provide a service that you were paid for. That's not your entire life. That's not, companies are calling it quiet quitting because that's what they think that is, but it's not. It's really, you're paying me to do a job. I will do that job to the best of my ability while I'm there. And then when I'm not there, I owe you nothing. Choosing to do what your job requires only and not putting in the extra effort is not quiet quitting.
No.
That's doing what you're being paid to do.
Yeah.
Not quiet quitting.
Welcome to Transformative Tea Talk with Soul Aligned Living. We provide education, resources, and tips on holistic health, mindset, yoga, qigong, and Ayurveda.
Well, we're here at our first retreat in this beautiful cabin, straight up a mountain. So right there, we worked on our anxiety and stress because the directions say, once you start going, don't stop. The people that have a problem are the people that stop at the first hill. But what they didn't tell us is that just getting to the road to get here that they don't want you to stop on, you can't stop either.
It's been amazing. We've hiked, we've played, we've yoga.
Played in the creek.
Yoga in the moonlight. Yeah. I'm gonna do some journaling, and then tomorrow's the full moon. So we'll be doing, we're actually going to do a hot mineral bath in the full moonlight. So that's
That's
tomorrow
exciting.
night. So
They actually have hot springs here in Hot Springs. Go figure. Like, I just thought it was a name.
So today we're going to talk about healthy boundaries and doing what you can.
Yeah, some is better than none.
Yes.
So that's our topic for today.
Yeah.
So a little bit of both healthy boundaries, and if you can't do all of it, do some of it.
Mhm. Last night, we were super exhausted. We had hiked, we had swam. The 1 mile easy hike turned into 2.5 miles.
Difficult hike.
Free climbing, rerouting. But it was, yeah, a very narrow trail for most of it. So
Unmaintained, it appeared.
One brochure said easy, and then another one said moderate. And the distances were different depending on which one you looked at. And then when you actually got to the trail, it said more difficult. And so my thought was, because it was not maintained, they just changed it to more difficult because you have to climb trees or climb a mountain to go around a down tree. So they're like, we're just not going to maintain this, so let's change it to more difficult.
We got home, we were exhausted, sore. We needed yoga to stretch. We did not need an hour of yoga. We just took some time and stretched and enjoyed the moonlight and listened to us. And
It was amazing.
I needed the Reiki. I got Reiki.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
we did a little Reiki.
Yeah.
Because this one started off in flip-flops.
It was an easy hike. It said easy, so I went with easy. I was wrong. I was so wrong.
Fortunately, she did switch into sneakers, but
That's not why I needed the Reiki.
no,
It was,
but still flip-flops.
I think it was more of the sneakers. Sneakers are my feet.
Yeah. It was a good hike, though. A good
was
hike,
nice.
a good swim, relaxing.
By the time we were done, we were ready to be done.
Yeah,
For sure.
so don't need an hour of yoga, don't need an hour of qigong, don't need an hour of all of that. It's 5 minutes, if it's 10 minutes, if it's 30 minutes. Just do what your body says it needs.
right. I learned a long time ago that some is better than none, because I tend to be an all-in person. So I will, like, if I can't do an hour, then I just won't do it. This was years ago. I've learned since then, but sometimes is even more powerful than the whole hour, because you're more apt to do it daily and do it regularly than, well, I only have, 20 minutes, so I'm not going to do anything. Well, then you've not done anything. Yeah. And it's a mindset thing, but it's so powerful. Even 5 minutes. And that goes for journaling, meditating, yoga, qigong, cleaning your house. Have you ever just looked around your house and been like, I don't have time to do all this. This is too much.
15 minutes.
5 minutes. Pick somewhere and start. Set a timer. And a lot of times, once you begin, you will just keep going, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
Some is better than none.
That's what I'm trying to develop my habits in the morning because I'm consistent in being inconsistent. I get up and I'm like, I don't have time to do something. No, I'm going to take 5 minutes and I'm going to take or do a little bit of qigong, a little bit of meditation, a little bit of movement so that I can start developing that practice of doing something every morning
Mhm.
to start my day. Just something. And then eventually I will develop that habit of doing it every day. So, okay, maybe I can add another 3 minutes. Maybe I can add another stretch, another activity of something to be consistent because it's really easy to be like, I don't have time. So let me get up, have my coffee, get dressed, go to work, do the things, and then become on autopilot for the rest of the day or the rest of the week. And that spirals. Let's spiral into something healthy, something productive for ourselves.
Right. And that goes for like healthy food.
Mhm.
Like, well, I can't buy organic or always find organic or eat whole foods all the time or all the things you're supposed to eat, but I can make an effort for some, or maybe a day here, a day there to do it, to eat these good foods. Some better than none, better than not doing it at all. Pick a day of the week to eat whole foods or incorporate it into your meal here and there. You don't have to go whole hog, throw all your food out, and because you probably won't do it then. You just probably won't do it.
I am allergic to dairy and gluten.
Mhm.
Not full-blown allergies, but y'all see me get red and things at work or wherever, and it's because I'm eating things that my body doesn't like.
Mhm.
So I don't completely give up cheese. I'll still sprinkle some cheese on top of my nachos. Not a lot. I'll go with the salsa instead, salsa and the meat, but sprinkle a little cheese or a little cheese here or there. Had a couple of slices last night. It was and I didn't get inflamed. Switched to almond milk, for my coffee creamer, just little things. And then am I going to be able to go out to eat and say, oh, I can't have any dairy? Nope. Sometimes I'm going to eat it.
I'm still having the chips and queso. I don't care.
Yep.
I will suffer tomorrow and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
It's all about choices and moderation,
Balance.
balance, and also feeding
You're
and
so
nourishing your soul.
Right.
And chips and queso nourish my soul.
Yes, mine as well.
That's a hill I will die on. And I will eat it mindfully and gratefully, and I will be so thankful for it. And I will not feel guilt.
Mine's bacon. Mine's bacon. My last meal will probably involve bacon.
Mine is cheesecake.
Yeah.
I'll never apologize for cheesecake, and I'll probably eat more than one piece.
I have a lot, so I'm not going to narrow it down to one.
Well, yeah, because I can go along with it, the queso.
There's a lot of things that I'm just like, well, it's here and I'm going to eat it and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to nourish my body.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat it mindfully and thankfully, and I will not feel guilty because I spent a lot of time feeling guilty for what I would eat.
Mhm.
And now I don't.
Yeah. I think we all spend a lot of time feeling guilty for things.
Yeah.
Feeling guilty for telling people no, feeling guilty for saying, I am not accessible for work. I'm not going to feel guilty for that.
I don't have the capacity for this conversation.
Yeah, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it. That's a big one. I think we're ingrained as women to feel guilt, or people in general. Like I remember my grandfather saying, you have to go to work, give it 100% always. And I've seen him go to work
And give it 100%.
100%. I've seen him come home at night and pass out on the floor because he had worked weeks, double shifts from 4 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night, closing down that gas station. And he had a blood clot and we never knew. And he passed out on the floor and ended up in the hospital because he had to give it 100%. And I'm sure he had a lot of guilt about saying, I have to do this. I have to do this. If I don't, then what does that make me? I'm guilty. We have to stop that. We have to start honoring ourselves and not feeling guilty when we put up those boundaries.
I give 60%. That's all you're gonna get out of me. I give 60. The other 40% is for me. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
And it took me a long time to get there. I used to give 110%. I used to give everything, especially at work. I was over and above, exceeds expectations.
Yeah.
Because I gave 110%, but there was nothing for me or
Got it.
nothing for my family.
Mhm.
So, because it was always, I was giving 110%. So now I don't give 60%. That's all you're going to get from me. I will not give you more. I will not give anybody more.
Because even if it exceeds expectations, you're only going to get a 2.5 to 3% raise anyways.
If
Because
that,
that's the companies we work for,
Mhm.
yeah, if that, if that, if that.
depending on their budget. So why are we killing ourselves?
So you're going to get 60% from me,
Mhm.
and that's enough. And that's for anything.
Mhm.
That's for this retreat. That'll be for next year's retreat. That's for all of Soul Line Living. That is for even relationships I'm in. It will not ever be 100%. I will 40% me.
Hmm.
I do give more, still 60%.
Yeah. I try to give 100% when I'm there, but I set those boundaries and say, I have to completely disengage from work while I'm not there so that I can nourish me, so that I can give myself 100% when I'm at home, which I'm not there yet. That's not there.
60%.
But it's setting those boundaries and saying no, and I'm not going to feel guilty, or hey, I need you to handle this. I'm on vacation. Thank you.
And I won't answer the phone. I wouldn't even just be like,
No.
they know I'm on vacation. I sat there and watched it ring the other day. I watched it. It stopped ringing and I continued on about my business. They know I'm on vacation.
I'm not there yet. I'm like,
You'll get there. Yeah, but
I'm like,
no.
what? And then I get angry. Like I get angry. Why am I angry?
See, I don't get into the phone. I don't get
Because
angry.
I can choose to not get angry and just go, they can handle it.
Yeah.
But I don't know how to do that. I'm working on it.
But they will. If you give them the opportunity to handle it, they will.
Mhm. Yeah. I can say I was not stellar with this when I worked. I did the long hours, take the work home, do all the things, and run
I'll-
yourself ragged.
I'll be at Disney, but call me if you need me.
Mhm.
And then leave my family to go over there and do something else while I'm standing over to the side of the Disney bridge on my computer trying to fix something for someone. Yeah, that was me
Mhm.
when I say 110%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's typical. I think it's just kind of in us too.
Mhm.
But yes, boundaries.
Carry my laptop in my backpack around whatever theme park I was at with my family.
Mine's upstairs. I have to do that. Nobody yet.
Oh, mine's here. I'm not looking at it though.
So the bottom line is take care of yourself. Make sure you have time for yourself and your family. I heard a doctor speak and he was talking about how doctors in general, they work all these long, long hours and they're there for their patients. They're in service for their patients, but they have kids at home that never get to see them. And so you think that a doctor has this nice, easy lifestyle, but many of them do work many long hours and their family suffers. So not saying anything about doctors. That's an example of what we do. And I know I did it with work. I would work all the time and I wasn't there for my family. And that wasn't good for them. It wasn't good for me because I wasn't taking care of myself. So.
And that's what the company's expensive. They do. I was just thinking about that. We've worked in teaching hospitals where it's the fellowships, they have a room they can sleep in because they do 24 hours.
Oh, yeah. It's insane what they have to do.
They set them up for the expectation that you give your entire life to this career.
Yeah.
And I think they do that for all of us in some subtle ways. You have to give everything, and no.
For the benefit of the company.
Yeah, for the company.
And that's the expectation the company sets. And that's so we go along willingly because we need to work, we need our jobs, we need money to pay bills. But it really is of no benefit to anyone except for the company.
Yeah.
You're not benefiting yourself. You're not benefiting your coworkers because then you get angry whenever they're calling you to to work, and then you get, you're agitated with them, and then they're paying for you giving 100%.
Mhm.
And the company is the only one that benefits because they will suck you.
Yep.
And they don't care.
And you are replaceable.
Yeah.
Never forget that.
But, and in healthcare, when we work 12, 14, 16 hours, that's unsafe. It is unsafe. I have said that from the beginning. And there are some people who choose to work those 16-hour days, but please, for the love of God, do not come back in the next day, because you can only do so much. Our bodies need to relax and heal and recover. Yeah. When I'm tired, the whole world knows it. I am a 2-year-old that has not had a nap, and I will stomp and kick and scream, and I will bite anybody's head off that comes near me. And no, I just don't have it anymore. All I needed was a nap. Like, if I would have set that boundary and said, no, I'm not coming in till 9:30 today. I worked late last night, or I need time for me, so nobody else suffers. I really do.
When one is experiencing connection and peace within, one will do no harm.
I love that.
Yeah, that's going to be my new motto, because I do a lot of harm when I'm not at peace. I spend days apologizing to people. I'm so sorry. I'm a bear. I'm so sorry. I'm a bear.
But the company got the work. The company got what it needed.
And my quota was met and things were done
So, and
At a cost.
at the
I'm
cost
a
of my.
strong advocate for, I mean, I think most people know how I feel about, like, not quite. I don't think it's quiet quitting. I think that's the wrong name for it.
It is the wrong.
I
name
think
for
you're
it, but
working
that's
for
fine.
your wage. You are doing what you were supposed to do. You provide a service that you were paid for. That's not your entire life. That's not, companies are calling it quiet quitting because that's what they think that is, but it's not. It's really, you're paying me to do a job. I will do that job to the best of my ability while I'm there. And then when I'm not there, I owe you nothing. Absolutely nothing. I don't care. So that's not quiet quitting. Choosing to do what your job requires only and not putting in the extra effort is not quiet quitting.
No.
That's doing what you're being paid to do.
Yeah.
Not quiet quitting. So somebody posted, I don't know, maybe like a year ago or so, like on Facebook, and was like, I don't understand this, this quiet quitting thing. And I give 110%. I'm like, yeah, I used to. I don't anymore. I used to follow that philosophy until I got burnt out and, went crazy, trying to keep up with everything and do all the family things and be everything for the family and do my job and do all that, no. And that was, I think, for a couple, generations now, we've had that philosophy, but that's not how it's been all the time. That's a relatively new thing, just in the last few generations. Before that, most people had farmland. They worked, teachers worked, they went to the school, and it wasn't all the bureaucracy. Teachers were there and then they left. When the kids left, the teachers walked home with them.
Yeah.
On Little House on the Prairie. I mean, they didn't
It's
stay
true.
after and grade their slates. I'm sorry.
Or do paperwork.
Yeah.
A lot of
You know,
paperwork,
There wasn't paperwork because everybody wrote on slates.
documentation.
I mean, so a lot of our modern day conveniences have made it worse. And it's not for the benefit of anybody but the company.
And as long as people are doing it, companies expect it. And we talked about the medical field, but in the educational field, which I come from, I used to tell our teachers all the time, this is just a job. Because you could literally do it 24 hours a day and never, ever, ever get it done. And you were expected to get it done because of all the bureaucracy and red tape that is involved. You have to document, you have to do this, you got to do that. But you also have to teach the kids. And we have to maintain discipline. And it's just insane.
So what are they not doing anymore of all that? They're not teaching the kids.
No, and they're leaving. And
nurses are leaving. And I'm actually one of the people that's advocating for nurses to leave, because until more nurses leave, nothing will change. So I'm advocating for nurses to leave your staff position. I'm advocating for nurses to go travel. Go get the money. Get paid for what you're doing, because if you're in a staff position, you're probably not getting paid for what you're actually doing. And you're giving 110% and you're getting a little bit of nothing. And, you know, the patients are suffering because we don't have enough nurses. So what do? You leave too. Leave too. Because until enough nurses leave, nothing will change. Until enough nurses stand up and say, I'm not going to do this, nothing will change. They'll just keep doing it to a brand new crew of nurses every year. And that will be all that we have is brand new nurses until even them, they say, I'm not going to do that. And so.
And I'm sure there's other fields that it's the same. It's the same.
And Shannon, you know, Shannon and I had a very passionate conversation about this a few months ago. And she said, well, who will take care of the patients? Who? I said, there will always be someone. There will always be someone. But how about we change our roles to where we are preventing some of it instead of just fixing it and catching it? You know, and let's start that. Let's start being proactive and let's start changing health before they need healthcare. And so that's where, you know, my goal is, and that's where, you know, Soul Aligned Living came in, and kind of all the different things was going down that road. And instead of being reactive as a healthcare system, finding a way to be proactive. So what else we want to talk about with healthy boundaries?
I like that.
Not feeling guilty about them. Like, you know, and the hard thing with healthy boundaries, the hardest with family. It's like when your family is doing things that's uncomfortable or stepping in your personal space or you just got to be able to say no and not feel guilty about it. Yeah.
That's really hard when it comes to family because we are all caregivers, and like even if we have a significant other, like a lot of times one takes on more than the other. Not that the other doesn't do anything, but it's just as women we tend to take on a little bit more, and we can get ourselves buried in that. There's
Probably it's because it's what we used to do.
Yeah, it is, and but it's what is it. We've always been the caregivers, and like there's research that shows that women typically, and you know, I don't know about other relationships, same-sex relationships, but when it comes to male-female, that typically women go to work and they also take care of the house. I mean, that's just a typical thing, and the kids, and getting the kids to all the things, and it's just what maybe we choose to do, but there needs to be a more balance in these things because it's a lot to take on.
It is. We have to say, hey, I need you to be a more active participant in managing the house. And that's hard to say. What?
I'm of the thought, if you don't know, then I feel like you should know. Like you should be an involved partner and parent regardless. I don't feel like I should have to say to anybody, I need you to do this, because that's just putting more emotional labor on you. You
right,
are
and
still
then
you're the person saying
you're the bad guy now.
Yeah, and then you're nagging. Well, I shouldn't have to be the adult in this relationship.
I'm not saying nag. I'm not saying that it has to be said routinely, but some boys were raised that
Those boys need to be on their own. Out the woods. Those boys.
And you know,
if we are not rehab centers. No, I'm sorry. We're gonna fight on this one. Y'all gonna see Michelle and Shannon fight on this one. I'm sorry. It's not my job to teach you to be an adult. No, that's your mama's job. No.
Well, some mamas have failed.
Yes, they have. But it's still not a woman's job to be the teacher. Well, they can find it out on their own. Well, I don't know if you want to be with me. Well, maybe because you come in and you don't do shit. I don't know. Like,
But it's a societal expectation.
Yeah.
It has
I
been
mean,
for a long time.
it
but
is,
gotta
it's
change.
ingrained in us, and it's like the women, they just take it on. They just take it on and do it because that's
But
what comes natural. It's what
there are men that do that.
there are men
There
that
are men
do,
that do.
and I know
men
men that do. So
Yes.
it's not a slam against men. There
No,
are
not
men
at
that do.
all. Because there are lots of men that do. And those are the ones that those dumbasses, not you, but the ones that Shannon's talking about, they need to be looking at them and they need to be teaching them, not us. It's not women's job. It's the
That's
other
right,
men.
other men. Yes.
Men should be teaching other men, or they need to choose better people to be around. If all of their friend group are all doing the same thing, they need to look over at men that are taking care of their families and participating and doing all the things, because there are a lot of men that do.
But there are women who are like me, who are so ingrained in being the nurturer and the caregiver,
You're gonna
that I
take care of
don't
that
know
man.
how to let go, because
Right.
then that takes away from my identity.
Yeah.
Which I am working on. Like, I recognize I'm working,
Uh-huh.
but then it can go into this. So there are a whole lot of women,
Mhm.
there are a whole lot of women out there who will judge other women
Uh-huh.
for not being 150%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who will say, why aren't you taking care of your man? Why aren't you fixing his plate? Why aren't you washing his clothes and taking care of his children? Oh, so what if you have to go out there and work
You only
too?
worked 12 hours today, but you didn't have dinner made?
So there's
What's
that
wrong with you? Like,
Yeah.
So you, or some people in society are telling you that you have to be all of these things,
yeah.
and we don't have those
No.
things. No,
No.
no,
No. No, not at all.
yeah.
We don't have to do all of those things. We don't have to be all of the things. But there are a lot of people that think we do still.
Mhm. I think of the movie Bad Moms. Have y'all ever seen Bad Moms? Like where you're expected to do all the things, and the PTA moms were like, no.
The organic
Look,
foods and
yeah.
everything has to be perfect.
She went to the store and bought them. Anyway,
Yeah.
but that's a good example of, the society expectation is here, but it's not real. It's
No,
not reality. It's not
It's not
healthy.
doable.
It's not taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
You'll just lose it.
Yeah.
And you don't want to do that.
When you start putting yourself first, people will fall away
Mhm.
that don't want you to put yourself first and want you to make sure that they are number one in all things. So
Yeah,
kind of how you know,
yeah, that's kind of how you know.
how you know sometimes.
When you start setting healthy boundaries, those people that are toxic in your life are going to fight that hard.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're going to get angry, they're going to blame, they're going to get ugly with you, and they're going to be, dare you not give me all the things that I asked for and wanted.
Yep.
You're being selfish, all the things.
And
Let
that's
'em go.
friendships, relationships,
Let
work.
'em go.
I mean, it's in every aspect of your life, you'll find that,
Mhm.
that if you are the person that gives 100% to everyone else, that whenever you stop, you are, I was gonna say something else, but
That is very true when it
Yeah,
comes
yeah.
like, especially to work, if you're the one that did
Mhm.
all the things,
Mhm.
and then you back off and you just work your job,
Mhm.
then you're considered a slacker,
yeah,
Yeah.
because the expectation is that you do all of this.
yes,
Yeah, it's so messed up.
it is.
We
really
need,
messed up. So, all right.
but
So in the comments, whether you're watching now or the replay, these are the things I want to hear. What does it feel like in your body when you're asked to do something you don't want to do, but reluctantly agree to it? So if you'll put that in the comments whenever you watch the replay, or if you're watching live now, put that in the comments. And then another one is when you're going along with something just to keep the peace, because you don't want an argument. You don't want to fight, so you're just going to do it.
Hmm.
Just to keep the peace. because I did that for a long time. And how are you not living your truth? And how does this relate to your choice in diet, conversation, self-talk, and in your career?
I'm gonna throw this out there. I feel resentment. Like I resent when I'm doing things because I don't want to. Mostly at home and things like that, or if I say yes to keep the peace. Resentment. At work, if I say yes to something that I really don't feel comfortable with, I get that heavy feeling and then I'm angry. I'm just angry. Anger.
And that's not good for your body. That's not good for your
And then I
well-being.
stress eat. I drink too much alcohol.
You self-soothe.
I self-sabotage. I be self-soothing in the moment, but
It's
in the end, it's I was 240 pounds. The reason I'm not 240 pounds is not because I've controlled my eating, but because I've got medication that controls my eating.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't control the alcohol. I can still drink and I can still get a hangover and feel miserable because I felt miserable and didn't know how to say no and didn't know how to set healthy boundaries and didn't know how to do the things to.
So it all goes back to whose fault is it? It's
I allow those things to happen because I don't know how to say no and I don't know how to say no.
we get mad and angry at everybody else, but really it's our own boundary that we haven't held.
Yeah.
So if we hold our own boundaries, how do we expect anybody else to respect our boundaries if we don't? You can't respect your own boundary, but yet you want other people to respect your boundary.
Right.
You have to respect your boundary first.
I'm laughing because she used to say this to me all the time. Did you tell them to not call you? Did you tell them? Did you set a boundary? I didn't even know I had a boundary. I didn't know what my boundary was, but I know they were broken. Like people are attacking me and I never even said, hey, I need you to not do this. Or I need you to only call me on this situation. Or I need to take an hour to myself and get my head clear. I didn't even know what boundaries were, but yet I was really angry that people were crossing those boundaries.
That she hadn't put forth to anybody.
I didn't even know what my boundaries were. So, but I'm expecting somebody else.
Yeah. So, and
I'm getting there.
I have a little note here and it says, and this is, and I tell people this all the time. So if any of my clients, they've probably heard this. Some other people probably have too. So when you speak an untruth to appease another person, you are using manipulation to get something out of the situation and ultimately stealing yours and others' time and energy. So when you're answering the phone, when you're on vacation, I love, Shannon lets me use her as an example when I love it. Then it's a form of manipulation because Shannon really wants her employees to like her. And I know that because we've talked about this. And so she wants to be there for them and she wants to be the everything. And she can't. And so she's working on that. We're all working on that. I'm not perfect, please. Like, I'm not saying that. I just don't have any good examples to come up with right now off the top of my head, but there are plenty I could probably tell you if I thought long enough. But it's manipulation. You're telling someone something, you're going along to get what you want out of it also. You're not holding your own boundary, but you're also getting something out of it. The question is, at what cost?
And that's the approval.
Yeah.
And there's an underlying reason for that. And that comes to childhood trauma.
Yeah.
Which we have to delve into.
Yeah.
It goes way back.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if I wasn't a good girl, if I wasn't perfect all the time, if I didn't say yes and go along with the flow of things, then what?
Yeah.
Then what? Like, am I going to go
Nobody's
live
gonna
with
want
my
me.
grandparents because my mom can't handle me because I'm difficult? Like, but if I'm not perfect with my grandparents, then what? Yeah, there's all that ugliness down there.
I work 12 hours today, but I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna make dinner. I'm gonna do all the things and do all this because if not, my husband won't want to be. So I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna resent it, but I'm gonna do it because I get something out of it too. But at what cost? And you use that for your job. You can do that for relationships, anything. Those are just a couple of examples. And that one, doing the everything is one I see a lot with women. Like they feel like they have to do everything. but then they're not also saying, I'm not going to do this, or let's do every other night. I'll make dinner tonight, you make dinner tomorrow night.
Mhm.
I'll do the baths while you make dinner.
Mhm.
Then tomorrow night we'll flip. You know, you have to set those boundaries and, you know,
Yeah.
and that is one of the biggest things I see
Yeah.
with women and relationships. And again, there are men too. I'm not bashing men because there are men
There are men.
that come home and do everything also. I know some that do that.
Mhm.
I have friends that do all of the things.
Or an equal partnership. I
Yeah.
have seen that. So many do that. And there's a lot of single dads out there. So
Yeah.
it's not,
Yeah.
but it's whatever relationship you're in, just check and
Yeah.
see.
Communicate.
Yeah.
Communication.
Where do you both stand?
Do what feels right for you, not what society says.
Yeah.
Society needs a change.
Yeah.
Yes,
Just
it
saying,
does.
society needs a change.
Yes.
Open up a little bit. I like this last thing on here, though. Healthy boundaries are a form of self-love with consistent practice that allows you to live your truth. Use your energy wisely and with intention. Yes, you do.
This is her. This is her.
If you're a client, you probably got this. It's the healthy boundaries from the Soul Aligned Living Workbook. Just gonna throw a little plug in there.
I'm gonna talk.
So we often try to grasp and hold on out of fear, believing we may lose something. We can practice non-attachment. It's my favorite thing, detachment and non-attachment. Speak our truth, hold our boundaries, and release the need to control a situation. Because that's a big part of boundaries too.
Mhm.
We don't have to control everything. In fact, we can't control everything.
No.
You're looking at me. Yes, I do like to control everything.
Sometimes I look at Shannon because she's a mirror to myself. Also, it's not always Shannon when I look at her. So don't always assume that Shannon's the complete career. Very often, whenever I'm talking to Shannon, I'm like, no. Okay, thank you. Yep. So, because none of us are really healed. We're all on the healing journey, and some of us are in just different places, but we're all still in that process.
Mhm.
And I had a teacher one time tell me that if you ever meet someone that says they are healed, to run,
Yes.
because that means they're no longer working on themselves, and you don't want to be with that type of person, because if you have no room for growth, you have no reason to be here anymore.
Yeah.
So we all have room for growth. We all have room to learn.
Yes.
So we're all still on a healing journey. If
Yes.
you're alive,
Still learning.
you are on a healing journey. I'm taking classes. Shannon's taking classes. My mom's taking classes. We're all still learning more.
Mhm.
So even, you know, if you go back and watch previous episodes, I don't always even agree with things I've said on previous things, you know, because
Yeah.
I'm constantly learning and changing and growing too. So it's not a linear process.
No. Mhm. And all the things we learn are not going to make our lives magically easy. It's not. It just helps us deal with the things that we're going to deal with every day for the rest of our lives.
Better.
Better.
And one of the things we're going to work on and try to hold a boundary for is only doing 30-minute tea times. I don't know how far we're at right now.
We're about 45 minutes.
Oh, 45
right now.
minutes. So we are closer than an hour.
Yes.
But we realize that not everybody wants to hear us talk for an hour. I mean, some
But
people
we could
may.
talk for hours.
We could talk for hours, so we'll just keep going. But we realize that not everybody may want to hear us. I think Layla just said true. We have
Morning, Layla.
Layla's up
We have
here.
a fan club up
Yeah.
here.
And yeah. So, but we realize that not everybody wants to hear us talk for an hour, maybe 30 minutes. Some people probably don't want to hear us talk for 15, but
Just remember, some is better than none.
yeah. So, you know, listen to it while you do dishes. I don't know.
And if you have any questions, please. Feedback is loved, appreciated.
Right. Or if there's a topic that you want us to cover, or anything that you're curious about, let us know.
And if any of this is helpful at all to you, invite your friends to the group.
Yes.
and let us know.
But I'm gonna throw live going in there later today, because with travel and everything, it's just been not scheduled.
Yep.
So, and feel free to watch it later, because we're gonna do breakfast, Qigong, and a few other things today. And enjoy our vacation.
And on that note, I think we are
Done for the day.
we're done.
Enjoy
Well,
your
we're
day.
done for the morning.
For
Happy
this one.
Saturday.
We're done for this episode.
Yeah.
Enjoy your day.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
See y'all next Saturday.